come back to redeem himself. So as in, it's so nice to see Nigeria win this match. It's really nice. And one thing about the playoff is that it makes you strong. When you go through the playoffs, it makes you stronger. It makes the team gel more. I mean, there was a particular year Brazil qualified through the playoffs, and that same year they qualified through the playoffs and they won the World Cup. After going through the playoffs, they won the World Cup. So the Super Eagles can also do it. Looking at what happened in the extra time today, I mean, they became stronger. They gelled more. That's one thing the playoff does for you or does to you. It makes you gel more. It makes you come stronger. And if the Super Eagles of Nigeria pick one of the two tickets in the Intercontinental playoff and qualify for the World Cup, I mean, they really become formidable. They'll be a strong squad at the World Cup. And in fact, as it is now, they are beginning to gel. They are beginning to gel. Against Cameroon now, they have another match. So by the time they get to the Nations Cup in December in Morocco, you see a different Super Eagles entirely. So I kind of like the fact that the match went into the extra time. Fine, we should have won in the regulation time normally. But then I kind of like the fact that it's stretching to the extra time. It made us see their full potential. It made us know that this team can really deliver under pressure. Because, here was it. I mean, the match ended 1-0 for crying out loud. The regulation time ended 1-0. And then you could have gone either way in the extra time. And the more reason should have given me that the Nigerian team should have been tired on the players. But they didn't show any sign of fatigue. They didn't show any sign of tiredness. They came out in full force. They needed it and they got it. So that's one plus. I mean, from this thing, that's one plus that happened tonight. So fine, we could have won the regulation time, but I kind of like the fact that it stretched into extra time. So what's your take on tonight's match? Like, we saw the match. The first half of the match ended goalless. We had chances in the first half. We didn't take our chances in the first half. Fine. And then the second half, we saw Nigeria a deflection from one of the Nigerian players. But the goal was credited to Mario Lemina, who plays for Galatasaray, and who is Victor Osimhen's teammate in Galatasaray. So the match ended 1-0. The match ended 1-0 in regulation time. But towards the end of the normal time, towards the end of regulation time, Victor Osimhen had a chance. He had a chance that he could have easily, buried into the net, but then he couldn't score the goal. But then he made up by scoring 2 more goals in the extra time. He made up for his loss by scoring 2 goals. So we are really happy with the Super Eagles' performance tonight. What's your take on tonight's match? And who would you like Nigeria to meet in the final on Sunday between Cameroon and DR Congo? And as I talk now, or before I came in, the match between Cameroon and DR Congo was goalless before I came in. And then don't forget that we met Cameroon at the Nations Cup, at the last edition of the Nations Cup. We met them and we defeated them. So who would you prefer to meet between DR Congo and Cameroon? And I won't watch this match. I won't watch the full 90 minutes and I won't watch the extra time. What would you advise the coach Eric Choi to do going forward? I mean, how would you like the starting lineup to be against Cameroon or DR Congo? And what would you advise him to do going forward? And then it would be nice for Nigeria to be at the World Cup. Don't forget that the Super Eagles were at the USA 94 World Cup and we got to the second round. They were also at the France 98 World Cup, and in the France 98 World Cup, we also got to the second round. They were at the Korea-Japan World Cup under coach Adegboyega Onibide, but they couldn't make it beyond the first round at the 2002 World Cup. It was a relatively young team then, very young team. I mean, the team that had the likes of Julius Agaowa, Joseph Yobo, Pauzi Kedia, and then Chinedu Obuke and the likes. It was a relatively young team then. They couldn't make it beyond the first round, but then they gave a good account of themselves. And they were also at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa with the likes of Yakubu Ayebeni, Obafemi Martins, and the likes, but they couldn't make it beyond the first round in South Africa in 2010. And they were also in Brazil in 2014, and they got to the second round in 2014. They were also in Russia in 2018, but they couldn't make it beyond the first round in Russia. And then at the last qualifiers in Qatar, they couldn't make it to Qatar. They lost narrowly to Ghana on away goal rules in the playoff. In the playoff, they lost narrowly to Ghana, so they couldn't make it to the World Cup. But here they are now, redeeming themselves in the playoff. They couldn't make it, they couldn't get automatic qualification this time around because South Africa picked the sole ticket from the group. But then we've seen what they've done now against Benin in the last match. We saw the way they defeated Benin 4-0 against Benin. They were ruthless, scoring 4 goals against Benin. And today again, they really redeemed themselves, scoring 4 goals. And as I said, one good thing about the playoff is that it makes you stronger. It makes you gel more, It makes you know that you have a lot of work to do. And that's what we have seen from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I'm telling you that by the time they qualify from the playoffs and pick one of the tickets to the World Cup, they'll really be a formidable squad in the World Cup. In fact, they can actually go very far because they are really gelling now and they are bonding. And the coach is trying new players. He's trying to see how the players will blend. And that's one good thing about the playoff. And that's one good thing about what happened today. So what's your take on today's match? And then, as I said, who would you like to meet between Cameroon and DR Congo? And what's your take on today's match? What's your take? Like, I mean, fine, we saw that in the first half, we had chances, we couldn't take our chances, and then the match ended, and then in the second half, we scored, we saw Gabon coming back to also score again, and then the match ended 1-0, and it had to straight to extra time. But we saw a different Nigerian team in the extra time. They were so ruthless with the way they scored goals. They were clinical. They were determined. They were purposeful. They wanted to score more goals because even after the match ends into Gabon's area, they wanted to score more goals. And then talking about this match as well, we saw a call that the referee had to go and check the VAR to see whether there was a penalty awarded to Gabon. That was a very dramatic situation because at that time we could even hear them loud and clear. We could hear the referee saying far, 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 like. The guy did not, there was no contact. He was saying far, 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 far. The referee had to check the VAR again and again and again. And in the end, no penalty was given to Gabon. If Gabon had been given a penalty, perhaps that would have changed the course of the game, but there was no penalty. But we saw the Super Eagles coming out in the extra time, redeeming themselves. They've been able to redeem themselves. And other countries now will begin to respect the Nigerian team more. Because if the Super Eagles of Nigeria had done this normally in the qualifiers, in their first 10 matches, if they had done this, by now we would not even be going through the playoff. But it is what it is now. We're in the playoff, and then we only go for the best. It is what it is. And then, as I said, one benefit or one advantage of the playoff is that it makes you stronger, like Brazil. The time that they had to go through the playoffs, they won the World Cup. So it makes you stronger. It makes you gel. It makes you more cohesive. It makes the team gel, as I said. And it makes so much fluidity amongst the players, and then you just see an overall teamwork from the players, and that's what we've seen from the Super Eagles of Nigeria tonight. So what's your take on the matter? As I said, we are really happy. Everybody is happy. Everybody is really happy because after when the match was going into the extra time, we were like, what's going to happen in this match? Fine, we had a very great first half. In Nigeria, the Super Eagles were great in the first half. In the second half, fine, it was really, it was a keenly contested match in the second half. And then we saw Osimhen missing that opportunity that would have given Nigeria the lead. But then he's missing the opportunity. It was a kind of blessing in disguise because he made us see a stronger Nigerian team in the extra time. He made us see that this team is not, it's a very good team with good coaching, with good training, and then with time together. If they spend more time together, they can actually do very well when they qualify for the World Cup. They can actually go far in the World Cup. It just, what they need to do is to play more games, to be more cohesive, that's what they need to do, and to be really more determined. We've really got the quality in our squad. We've got the players who can make the difference. Talk about Victor Osimhen, who missed some begging chances and was able to redeem himself. It takes a world-class player. It takes a player that knows his onions, that knows what he wants, to miss chances and still go ahead and redeem himself in the same match. He redeemed himself 2 times, and he even wanted to score a third goal in the match. He wasn't satisfied. He wanted to score more goals. So it takes a very great player to do that. And then that's one thing we've really been able to pick from this match. So what's your take on the match? As I've said, who was your best player of tonight? Who was your best player? For me, I can't even really single out any player anyway. But who was the best player of tonight? Who was your best player in tonight's match? And then what do you think Nigeria or every child should do going forward? What should it do differently going forward? And we're going to be playing against Cameroon or DR Congo on Sunday. That's going to be the final match of the CAF playoff. Then after the match has been played, the eventual winner will go on and play in the Intercontinental or Interconfederation playoff, which will hold next year in March in North America. That's where it won't hold in Morocco, it will hold in North America. So what's your take? How impressed have you been? As for me, I was really impressed with the boys or with the men in the extra time because I didn't see them coming out that way. No way. I didn't see them coming out that way because I thought they were going to be tired. I thought they were going to be fatigued, but I saw them coming out renewed, strengthened, determined, and then we really saw a difference in the boys in the second half. And then they made Victor Osimhen was able to redeem himself. A lot of them were able to redeem themselves, and we saw Nigeria scoring 4 good goals, and then all those goals were clinically taken. 4 good goals. Kudos to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So we take on Cameroon or DR Congo this Sunday, and it will be very nice to see Nigeria at the World Cup. The last time the Super Eagles made the World Cup was in Russia, as I said, in 2018. and then we exited from the first round. The last time we got to the second round of the World Cup was in 2014. So this time around, we hope that the Super Eagles will get to the World Cup. But then, as I said, if the Super Eagles of Nigeria get to qualify for the World Cup through these playoffs, they will really be a formidable squad. We'll see them, as in they will really be able to stand at par with the likes of, all the great teams in world football. They will really be able to stand, they will really be able to hold their chest against all these things. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria today did not fare badly, especially in the extra time. What's your take on this match? Who is your man of the match? How would you rate our goalkeeper Nwabali? How would you rate Calvin Bassey? How would you rate Benjamin Fredericks? And everybody that played today, Ndidi, Alex Iwobi, Osimhen, and what's his name, Luke Moore. How would you rate all the players that played today? What's your take on these players? How would you rate them tonight? We saw Chidera, Ejuke. How would you rate all these players? What's your take on this match? You can just keep your messages coming in. What's your take? But one thing is that Nigerians are happy. We're all excited that the Super Eagles won this match. Like, we won the match because coming into this match, as in prior to this match, the Super Eagles only won 4 matches in the World Cup qualifiers. They drew 5 matches and they lost 1. Compared to Gabon, Gabon won 8 matches, drew 1 match, lost 1 match. Gabon scored more goals than us. We scored 15 goals. They scored 22 goals. And then today we saw a different Nigerian team entirely. And Gabon played with the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and there was Dennis Bwanga, and then there was also, what's the name? Okay, Lemina that plays for the Galatasaray. They came with their squad, all the players that have been playing in the World Cup qualifiers. But then the Super Eagles of Nigeria showed superiority in terms of experience and everything. Talk about the pass from Ndidi to Ejuke. They really showed superiority today, and then they were really, in the extra time, they were really convincing. So what's the take on this match? It was a good game by the Super Eagles. We wanted to go a step further and win the match. Their next match on Sunday. I mean, this is not the time to be complacent. Of course, they can't even afford to be complacent because it's only one team that will go to the Intercontinental Interconfederation playoff. It's only one team that will pick one. And the good thing is that they are well ranked. The teams that were already qualified for the Interconfederation playoff. We have Bolivia from South America, and there's New Caledonia from Oceania. They'll be joined by 2 teams from CONCACAF, and then one team from 2 teams from CONCACAF. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will qualify, and of course, will qualify by the special grace of God. They only just have to bring in their A game against Cameroon. So because they're going to, 6 teams now will be contesting at the Interconfederation playoff. 6 teams. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria started brightly today by defeating Gabon today, scoring 4 goals. Nobody saw that coming in the second half, especially after they ended the regulation time. We're just going into the extra time like, God, just go with us in this match. Like, just go with us. We didn't know that they were going to come out in full force, scoring 4 goals, and they were so ruthless in the way they scored the goals. That was an impressive game by the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And as I said, going into the extra time was a kind of blessing in disguise because it made them express themselves the more. It made us see their full potentials, and it made us see that these guys can really go far when given the chance and under the right condition, under the right atmosphere. They can really go far. Even in the World Cup, they can go far. At the last World Cup, we saw Morocco get to the semi-final at the last World Cup. If the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify for this World Cup, they can actually go that far. They've got the quality. It takes a good team and it takes a good player to miss goals and still redeem yourself. You needed to see where I was